Hey guys, it's Wahima, but just call me Wah. Melanated! Welcome to another recap / review of 90 Day Fiancé before the 90 days. I have been in Cancun, girl, so if you see this tan, if you notice that this melanin is a poppin', that is why. Go to Cancun, girl. Get your melanin life. Alright, so the bold lip that I have on today is Matte Glam by Milani Lipstick. Girl, I've been wearing this. I wear this all the time. It's not a new bold lip for me, but it is a bold lip for me. And I rocked it in Cancun, so I'm rocking it for you guys right now, along with my blue and purple hair, which is a new, very odd and new thing for me. I've never had blue or purple hair. Well, I guess the last time I got my hair done, it was like a burgundy-ish kind of color, and that was my first foyer into different hair color. But you're not here to talk about my hair, girl. We are here to talk about 90 Day Fiancé before the 90 days. I'm not quite sure what this episode is called, but I believe it's episode 12, and let's just jump right into it. Okay, so the first couple that we're going to talk about is Larry and Jenny, and if you remember last time we left off, Larry and Jenny had a fight because Larry would not take a bite of the food that her family painstakingly made for him. They're still reeling from that fight. Jenny was crying all night. Apparently Larry was crying all night too, and I was just like, Larry, don't be telling people you were crying all night. So they wake up the next morning, they do like a fake little debrief as though they're talking to each other, but really the producers have said something else so that they can tell the producers how they're feeling or tell us how they're feeling. Larry claims that he was crying all night, and Jenny is just kind of looking at him like, as she does, and her facial expressions are iconic. Like, they are my life. Jenny then just says that she forgives Larry and that everybody deserves a second chance, so she's gonna give him another chance to redeem himself after this huge, disrespectful, disgraceful behavior that he showed in front of her family. So apparently they had a plan where they were gonna go out sightseeing, but that day it was absolutely downpour raining. So they decide to have a video chat conversation with Larry's cousin, Buster, who they've now changed his name to Carl, and Annalyn, who is Carl's wife, who, as you guys remember, Carl came to the Philippines, did the same thing that Larry's doing, and found his wife and brought her back to the United States, and they're in marital bliss, apparently. So Jenny's a little apprehensive because, so if you guys recall, Larry decided that he was going to flap his gums and tell Jenny that his cousin Carl had some issue with her Facebook. If you guys remember, Carl and Annalyn are basically telling Larry that he needs to watch his back because Jenny is talking to hundreds of guys on Facebook. She's got hundreds of messages, and it seems like she's just out there trolling, trying to figure out how she can find an American husband to marry. And they put this seed of doubt in his head, and so he went back and confronted Jenny on it, and instead of being like a good chismoso, like a respectable gossiper, like he decided that he was going to just say, hey, my cousin and his wife found your Facebook and they're saying all this stuff about you. Is it true? Now, if Larry made any sense or was any kind of person who, like, I don't know, has any kind of social graces, he would have just been like, hey, so I went to your Facebook and I saw that you had a lot of messages from men, and I just want to talk about that because it's a concern for me. That way he could completely take out his cousin out of scenario so that there's no beef between Jenny and his cousin. Don't start no SH and there will be no IT. I think she's uncomfortable and she's trying to go in this with like a positive attitude. Not really though. She's like low-key pissed. I think when Carl and Annalyn are kind of just like, hey, like, how are you? She kind of feels like they're being fake a little bit, and so she can't deny how she feels about them trying to sabotage her relationship with Larry. So she, in the beginning, pretends to be polite, is still throwing all the shade and side eye she can give. So someone did bring up the fact that Carl did try to tell Larry not to trust Jenny, and Jenny's like, but why would you say that? You don't know me. And Carl is just like, well, I'm not saying I know you, but, you know, we saw this on your Facebook page and we have cause for concern, but you seem like a nice girl. And Jenny's like, don't call me a nice girl. You don't think I'm a nice girl. She's been seething, you know. I don't know if it's the editing. I don't know, but it makes it seem like Carl and Annalyn go very defensive very quickly, and it also seems like Jenny goes defensive very quickly. But personally, I feel like the onus on this is on Carl and Annalyn because they're the ones who stirred up the shit, and unfortunately, Larry is the one who delivered the pie. Now, Jenny has only nothing to do but react to it, and both parties are being really foolish. Like, I think that Larry should have been like, hey, you know, Carl, we found out that's not the case, so maybe you should apologize. I mean, that's even taking it too far because the truth is Larry shouldn't have said anything to begin with. But I think maybe to save face, Carl should have said, you know, I'm really sorry that we said that, but just so you know, we're just looking out for my cousin. It was no offense to you specifically. Now that Larry's there and he sees that you're this great person and we see that you're this great person, we're really sorry for saying the things that we said. It didn't come from a malicious place because we didn't actually know you. We're just trying to protect our cousin. I think that that should have been their defense. But unfortunately, Carl was like, well, you better not come to the States with that attitude. And I immediately was just like, F Carl. Like, no, you got to put yourself in Jenny's position, and nobody is doing that, not even Larry. Larry's not even stepping up and being like, whoa, Carl, like, thank you so much for your advice. However, it turns out your advice was wrong. And Jenny's just like expressing herself because she's been feeling some type of way that she feels like you were trying to talk about her in a negative light when you didn't even know her. And that's all Jenny is trying to say. Is like, how could you say that about me? Now, obviously that's a stupid question because duh, Jenny, that's his familia, and obviously familia is going to look out and tell the tea. So it's just really up to Jenny to be more understanding and for Carl to not be a douche about it. And he was absolutely being a douche. Jenny ends the conversation with, I'm done with what I'm saying. Thank you. And she's bawling. Like, she starts to cry, like, in earnest. And Larry just sits back and is awkward and doesn't know what to do and doesn't even like reach over to console her or say anything. And when she tries to get him to talk and like be like, you know, she says, I don't understand why they don't like me. I don't understand, you know, why they said all these negative things about me. This is what Larry says. And I quote, they just don't know what they like. I don't think. I don't know what they want. They don't know everything. Don't worry. We're just going to have to keep telling them how we feel. That is what he says. That is a direct quote. I wrote all the words down. Like, he doesn't even know how to console her. He doesn't even know what to say. He basically puts the onus on her and says, hey, just don't worry about them. But how could she not worry about them? Like, what does he think is going to happen? That she's just going to come to the United States with no friends in all of the land, except for maybe the one person who could be her friend, which is Carl's wife, because they're from the same country and have very similar moving to the United States experiences. And now she can't even reach out to that person because of this like seed of deceit between them. Larry is just so foolish, you guys. And I just feel really bad for Jenny because I think she's too smart for him. I think she's too savvy for him. You know what I'm saying? And she just doesn't understand why Larry isn't defending her. And she says it to him and he's just like, I don't know what to do. I'm caught in the middle. So anyways, the next time we see Larry and Jenny, they're at the beach. They go to this really beautiful like place and it looks like probably producer set it up because it doesn't look like Larry would have even been able to do it. And he's talking about how beautiful it is. And they run into the water with her sandals on for some reason. And they're kissing in the water. She has like this giraffe one piece on that I'm just like, what is it? Is that a giraffe print? What am I seeing here? I don't know what's going on. Then they have a conversation after they get out of the water and Larry is just like, I'm so happy. I'm in one of the most beautiful places I've ever seen in the world with one of the most beautiful women I've ever seen in the world. And then this is her reaction.
The most beautiful woman I've ever had in my life.
She was like, at first she's like, and then it slowly turns into a smile because she's just kind of like, I think she's low-key over him and that statement just kind of melts her heart and he's trying to be sweet. He's doing his best. You know, he's doing his best. He's giving it the old McDonald's try. You know, I see that McDonald's smile he's got going on there. It's that secret sauce smile. It's that you don't know what's in this food smile. It's the, do the chicken nuggets actually have chicken in them? Smile. And I think the one thing that she says to me while they're on the veranda having this conversation is that, you know, you really disappointed me. That's what she says. Number one, she says that he really disappoints her. And two, the fact that she was so upset and he seemed to not notice, like he didn't understand what was going on. And I think emotionally something is very stunted with Larry and she's very emotional. She's very in touch with how she's feeling. She's very open to talking about it, and I don't think Larry is at all. So now let's move on to Abby and Sean. So as we remember with the last time with Abby and Sean, they have that situation where Sean comes up to her house. He's like, hi, Abby. She's like, good morning, Sean. In most other countries, when we see somebody in the morning, the first thing we say is, good morning, here are your manners. Thank you, don't come into my house. Let's go sit on the steps. Basically, they end with the fact that they're going to continue to try and that Sean's just gonna have to trust her. So the scene that we see in this episode is Sean getting ready to leave. They're packing up the Airbnb. I really like Abby's hair. I just like Abby's hair, girl. I feel like it's got a lot of texture in it, you know, I'm feeling it. And they get into the cab and it's kind of awkward because they don't really talk. And it seems like Sean's kind of over it and bummed and like he's got like a full day of travel ahead of him. So he's just trying to get out of Haiti. So they get to the airport and Abby starts to cry and she's like, I'm gonna miss you. I'm not gonna cry. I love you. And she's sending him all this I love you text and stuff. And he's just kind of like whatever about it at this point. Like he's just a little bit like, listen, I'm ready to get back into my element and eat food that I understand, and that's just it. Before he leaves, or at some point during his layover or something, he has like a confessional with the cameras, and he basically says that he thinks like 25% they're gonna make it and they're gonna work out, and then 75% it's not. Like, he really is downtrodden about this situation because he was planning on proposing to her. He was planning on proposing to her before he left, and now he's unable to do so. And I think he's just like really sad about it. So he gets back to his house, which like, I'm just like, first of all, yes, you did need to get back to this day so you can finish his house up. Like, every door, every hallway looks like it's unfinished. I'm gonna need you to finish that house, Sean. And that's just what it seems like. It just seems like he's 100% over it. And I feel bad for him. Low key. She's 20 years old and she's got this man running around crying. So next we move on to Paul and Karini. So this is after the whole entire incident of the mugging and the phone being stolen, and then him coming back to her friend's house to have a conversation. She ends up going off with him back to the hotel, and it seems like everything's cool, and he's really appreciative that Karini has decided to forgive him and accepts his past. Like, he even starts to like low-key starts to cry about it, and I was like, oh, like, okay, Paul, like, maybe this has been like such a contention in your life that you've just never felt comfortable to share this with anybody, and you needed this kind of scenario in order to wake up. And so maybe he's got some personal growth. So he's decided that he's going to propose to her. He wants to propose to her at the resort so that there's no drama with any muggings or any machetes. He talks to this bellboy, or the bellman, really. Can't call him a bellboy. The bellman walks him around the resort to try to find a good place for him to propose, takes him down to the shoreline. And as they get there, there's like this length of chain that's already in the shape of a heart. And so Paul thinks that it's the perfect opportunity and the perfect place. The sun is already setting, so he needs to get Karini back to this place. So his idea is to draw in the sand, write in the sand, "Will you marry me?" And instead of writing it in Portuguese, he decides to write it in English because he's that kind of American. He quickly goes back to the hotel so he can get Karini so he can propose to her when the sun is going down. They get to the shoreline, Paul and Karini, and he's like, uh-oh, what's happening over there? And she's just like, oh my God. He like gets her over where he's written in the sand, "Will you marry me?" She takes out her phone to put in the translator app to try to translate it, and it's taking forever. So he gets on his knees and he's just like kneeling for, I don't know, a minute maybe. It's awkward. And he's like, finally the translator app works and she's able to read it, and she's just like, oh my God, I don't know what to say. I don't know what to say. Like, she doesn't know what to say. So it leads us to believe that she does not say yes. And that's the end of that. And he's just like, I really wish I would have wrote it in Portuguese. This would have been a lot faster. And we're just like, yeah, we all wish you had wrote it in Portuguese, Paul. We all wish that. All right, so then we move on to Patrick and Miriam. This, I mean, guys, Patrick and Miriam is such a weird scenario for me. Like, I really need more backstory because I don't believe what is being told to us. Producers set up some situation where they're on this boat and they're having like a romantic dinner or something. I don't know, evening on this boat. And she basically tells Patrick that he's a really great guy and she's had a lot of fun with him, but like, she's not going to give up her life, the life that is normal for her and the life that she knows for him. And he's just like, what do you want? And she's like, well, you have shown me all the things that I think I want my boyfriend to give me, but I want it from my boyfriend. Like, he just wants a reality to me that isn't feasible. I don't know what he thinks. Like, it's like, I think he's so focused on getting her to say yes, that she wants to be with him, that he's not thinking logistically about how that's all gonna happen. And I think she's more so thinking logistically about how that's gonna happen. She cannot break up with her boyfriend to be with this guy that she's been like lukewarm talking to from America for like a year. And like, nothing has ever been serious. He says all the right things, but what does that mean? What does it mean in practice? And is she gonna really give up her relationship with someone who she already knows and lives in her city that she's probably not planning on moving from, away from her family and everything, on a whim, on a chance with this guy? Like, Patrick honestly is going to have to move to Paris, I think, for Miriam to be able to really objectively decide what she's gonna do about them. He has his daughter at home. He's not moving to Paris. And I don't know what logistically he expects to happen. And basically she's just like, you know, c'est la vie. He puts it all on the line though. He really does tell her like 2 or 3 times that he does love her and he wants to be with her and that she's the girl of his dreams. And he's like talking about fighting for the girl of his dreams and blah, blah, blah. And I'm just like, you know, she's recognizing that he's saying all the right things, but c'est la vie. you know? She doesn't go with him to the airport. The last time they see each other is after that boat ride is over. And he's bummed out, and I'm bummed out with him. He gets on the airplane. He goes home. It's about a 12-hour journey, which is, Jesus Lord, it's a 12-hour journey. And he finally gets home. His mom is waiting for him at the airport. She's sad for him because everything that everyone said that could go wrong absolutely did happen and go wrong for him, and he didn't come back with the girl of his dreams. And so his mom even low-key starts to cry a little bit, and she's like, now Patrick, find you an American girl. I'm just like, that has nothing to do with it. Oh yeah, it was a 2,000 mileage lesson learned or something. And I'm just like, coast to coast is 3,000 miles. So like, Patrick could have had this very same situation with somebody who lived in Washington State. It's still the same distance. The distance has nothing to do with it. It has to do with the logistics of it. I just get annoyed with the xenophobia, or like, it's weird. I'm annoyed with the idea that because these people are foreign that there's something wrong with them. Then Mama's like, oh yeah, Cameo and Italy are at the house. And I'm like, who the hell are Cameo and Italy? Is Italy his baby's name? Just like this fake admiration for foreign things is weird. Like people who name their kid London are like, I'm not going to London. I'm like, why'd you name your kid London then, fool? It's a nice name. So next we have Courtney and Antonio. Courtney and Antonio are still reeling from the drama of Antonio just leaving her because he needed space. She slept on the couch, thank God, that night. And she's been crying, so she's like worried as she's putting on all of the mascara that Maybelline has to offer and all of the eyeliner. When she woke up, Antonio was already gone, and then he comes back and they have a little mini conversation, and she's like, do you want me to leave? Because I don't want to stay here if you don't want me here. And he's like, no, I like your hair, I want to stay. And she's just like, I just need space. Like I told you, I need space. They end up going to the flamenco bar, so that's nice. They still do that planned trip, just at a later date. Antonio has a confessional that I find to be very interesting. He basically says that Courtney has big feelings that he doesn't have, and that he doesn't know if he's ever going to get there. And he does like her. He doesn't want to hurt her feelings, but like he doesn't know if he's ready to be in a serious relationship. And he thinks that she has more emotion and feeling towards him than he does for her. And she says the same thing, that she didn't expect to fall as hard for Antonio as she did, and now that she's there, she's just very vulnerable, and she wants to spend as much time with Antonio as possible because they only have the 3 weeks together, and she's like worried that they won't see each other afterwards. And I'm like, girl, you won't see each other afterwards, so just enjoy the time that you have now and keep it moving, boo. I'm like, you're peanut butter and jelly. And he's like, I don't know, I think Antonio's a little too fancy for her. That's just my opinion though. She doesn't ever want to be by herself. I don't know. I just understand Antonio's point of view so much more that I am having a hard time empathizing with her wanting to be with him all the time, you know? Alright you guys, so that's it for this recap / review of 90 Day Fiancé before the 90 days. Let's have a conversation down below. Thank you so much for your patience while I was in Cancun. Oh my god, I have so many episodes of 90 Day Fiancé to film. But I'm gonna do it. It's gonna happen. Alright you guys, thank you so much. I hope you have a fantastic day. If you like what I do here on this channel, please consider becoming a Patreon patron and click the link down below. And remember to be you, be true, and find your place. Bye!